to the Choir Directors Academy. I am your host, Angela Elaine. It is so good for you all to be here. Could be somewhere else, but you decided to be here with us on tonight. Listen, do me a favor. Facebook, like and share this video. Tag your friends and let them know that TCDA, the Choir Directors Academy, is on the air. YouTube, thanks for checking in. Do the same. Hit that share and send that link to all of your friends and let them know you all have been a grand support, especially YouTube. You're growing at a good rate, almost as good as Facebook, but thank you for what you're doing, Facebook. You know I love you. You've been there with me from the beginning. Listen. Okay, I have to do my shout outs now. All right, Walter Jones, yes, we know you are present. Shanita, good to see you on tonight. Beverly Ann, awesome. Annette, thank you for tuning in. Frederick, thank you. What's good with you? We're glad that you're here. Beverly Ann, thank you. Shanita, everybody, yes. And that Walter Jones is here. Probably because Demetria and Natalie is here. You know, let's just keep that real. But we're not going to be here to bash anybody. We're just going to accept the fact that he's here for a change, all right? But everybody, thank you so much. Listen, we got an awesome show for you on tonight. Incredible SMEs. Yes, everybody, subject matter experts, okay? You know me, I'm not the one to say I know it all. I know that there are others out there that God has gifted in the area of music. There are so many different variations and levels of music, expertism, lack of a better word. That's the first thing that came to my mind. But anyway, there's a lot of it out there, and I'm here to learn. And my maestro brother, Derek Talton, thank you for checking in with us. Thank you. But there are these people, this group of people are really phenomenal in what they do. And I consider them subject matter experts. I mean, what I've read and what I've heard and some of what I've seen is just, it's nothing short of amazing. So I am going to start introducing the panel because I don't want, you know me, I always like to get my guests in and get them out just in case I need to call on them again later on in the year. They'll be apt to come because I treated them fairly, right? Time is precious. Listen, our first panelist is Mr. Edward Adair. He is the president of the Indiana MBC Convention Music Department, as well as a choir master. And any of us that have dealt with convention choirs know that that is a heavy feat. You have to be an Iron Man to do that. He is also, by him being a frequent attendee and speaker at various national conventions and training, he has an incredible insight on aspects of leadership and education. Everybody, let's welcome Mr. Adair. Hello, good to see you. Next, we have Dr. Jillian Harrison Jones. This lady started towards a law career and dramatically changed to follow her passion in music. She is a choral conductor, which she loves, and an incredible vocalist. With her extensive educational background and expertise, Dr. Jillian understands how important it is for representation of Black conductors, especially women, in the field of music, as well as an understanding of what it means to be a conductor. She was featured in an article titled Painting with Voices by the Women of Cincy.org. Let's welcome Dr. Jillian Harrison Jones. Hey, next, I got to get through this and get everybody in. Next, we have Mr. Mark Duras, and I call him my classical pianist. This gentleman is a classical pianist, and he also serves as a church musician. We can imagine the beautiful sounds of that mixture. Mark is a music educator and the musical director for Asante's Children's Theater, which he has demonstrated a keen understanding of performance and vocals. Let's welcome Mr. Mark Dorison. Woo! Our fourth panelist is Ms. Natalie Johnson Bullock. She has been an accomplished minister of music for a number of years, as well as a church musician for various organizations. But don't let her quietness and whatever fool you. She's a mover and a shaker, trust me. She's the one that directs and organizes in the background to bring music to life to the congregation. Let's welcome Natalie Johnson Bullock. I told y'all I did my best writing. I did my best. My final panelist is Mrs. Demetria Brand Triplet. She is a speaker, a musician, a radio host, and she didn't say this, but I'm saying it. She's a PK. I don't care. I know her parents, God bless them. They have went on to glory. But once you become a PK, that's it. You're stuck with the title for life. Demetria was also a minister of music and an organist at various churches, and also served with the Northeast Mississippi Baptist State Convention and facilitated several workshops. She loves good traditional choir song, gospel music with a message. She states that inspirational Christian music is good, but soul-stirring gospel penetrates like no other genre. Let's welcome Demetria Bland Triplett. Hey, welcome everybody. Oh my goodness, everybody, they're going along with me. You guys, they saying Nat and all of this. You're welcome, Frederick. I love this platform as well. My parents are out there. Hey, mom and dad, I got to give a shout out to them. Hey, listen, let's just jump right into this. When you have professionals, you got to jump right into it. You don't want to hold up time. So, my first question to any one of you: what is music? Anybody want to go first? Second, third, fourth?
Okay, so music is, by definition, whether it's vocal or instrumental sounds that is combined in a way to produce beauty of form, harmony, and expression of emotion. I like to add a fourth component, which is the Spirit of God. Okay, especially if we're talking in the realm of spiritual music, whether it's gospel music, whether it's Christian contemporary, whether it's those things that show the Spirit of God. It provides a sort of a takeover for people that are going through. So if you're going through something happy, it's one of the great influencers. Whether you're going through something and you need encouragement, music can do that. If you are happy and you want to celebrate, music can do that too. If you are angry and you need to get some frustration out, music can provide that. So it's one of the great influencers. But also for me personally, music is my wife before I have a wife. Music is as I love my Lord and Savior, music is right under that. God is always the head. But after that, music has never lied to me. It never put me down. It's never cheated on me. She never did me wrong. Right. So that's I think for a lot of musicians and vocalists who have that love. There's some people that have a love for music, but are not drawn that way. For me, and I know for probably everyone on this panel, that we can recognize that feeling within each other, what music does, how it drives us and moves us. At least that's what
awesome. All right, someone else?
I would like to add to what he said. There's a person that by the name of Georgia Cates. Her phrase was, "Music is the feeling, what feelings of sounds like." And I think of how music really it attacks your emotions, as far as when it comes to hope and fear and joy and sorrow. Is painting a one of the things I always tell the choir sometimes is trying to paint what it is you're singing in order to bring it across. But music is what feeling sounds like.
Exactly. Yes, it is. And I was thinking Dr. Jillian had spoken in her article they wrote about her. I mentioned that before, that your voice is a form of art. Mm-hmm. And music is also that. You can turn it. It all depends on how you perceive it. And I was thinking, just to add to that, I was it's amazing to me to this day, and I'm a musician, not as gifted as you all are, but it's amazing to me how each of us can hear the same notes, and we all sound totally different. It's all in how we paint the picture, or how we view it, or how we hear it. Each of us were given a specific way of how to hear the music, and our interpretation is so different, but yet it's alike because we're all using the same notes or variation. I think that is awesome. Anybody else want to comment on that? Or we good?
I'll go ahead and say, and to expand and expound upon that, music is, it's the greatest form of expressing the human condition, period. It's that language that everyone can understand, regardless of what genre, regardless of age, stage. It is that language that, regardless of whether it's instrumental music or vocal sung music, whether there are lyrics or no lyrics, it is that language that can pierce any and everyone's souls to the point where nothing has to be spoken for you to understand what the song is doing, what the song is saying. And it affords for everyone to have their own, as you were saying, Angela, their sort of own interpretation of the song, but still within the one single song have so many interpretations, but it still feeds the soul for everyone in some way or another. It is literally the universal language that we can all speak and understand.
Awesome. Now, the next thought. What are the elements of a good song? Now we hear people who are skilled and who are not skilled, and they can hear a song, say, oh, that was a great song. And then those of us sitting here that know music, we kind of sit there like, yeah, crickets. Because we're like, okay, I don't know what that was. We all have our interpretation, for lack of a better word. So what are the elements of a good song?
Message, a unique combination of theme and variation. If I were to throw out music terms and jargon, a connection factor. Understand that this is a message, whatever message you're trying to convey, whether it's, and let me say this as well, as the instrumentalist, as a pianist, I'm also trying to convey a message, even when there's no words to whatever I'm playing. I'm still trying to convey emotion, and whether it's happy, sad, or majesticness, especially when it's reference to the master. But for me, it's about the message. If you are able to convey a message and draw in people, and sometimes that's as simple as the intro. There's a reason why there are intros to songs, and we just don't just start a song, right? It's to feed or to grab somebody's attention first, and then bring them in. And then once that intro is over with, now here's the message. Here's the first part. Chapter 1, chapter 2, or verse 1, verse 2, bridge, chorus, those sort of things. So for me, it's really the connection. You got to catch me with the intro first. Let me, grasp me, pull me in, and then I'll be more susceptible to hear what you have to say after that.
Wow. Okay. Natalie or Demetria, or Dr. Jillian, and then Demetria and Natalie. Dr. G.
Oh no, I was just going to add to Mark's comments in saying that one sort of essential element of any good song is that it has direction. It has you're driving a point. You're going somewhere, and you're essentially taking your listeners, your congregations, and you yourself, all who are participating in the experience. We're going on a journey. What is our foundational message for this song? how are we starting it? Where's our climax? And then how are we ending it? So it has to have a sense of direction. Otherwise, the song just lays flat and goes nowhere. And so this is why composition within each and every song matters. You can have a single song that just repeats over and over and over and over. But what are you doing with that song to create an experience, to create a journey for that song? And so, again, a lot of that comes with your own interpretation of how to compose this piece. But at the end of the day, each and every song has to have a direction.
Awesome. Demetria and Natalie?
Ditto.
Okay, we see how this is going to go.
That's funny.
Well, truthfully, that they basically summed it up. When you start talking about, the elements of a song, you're talking about the rhythm. You're talking about if it does have spoken or unspoken, messages. Because the music itself resonates beyond what is spoken. It's kind of like, like Mr. Mark, he is a classical pianist. For me, this is just, that little something. As much as I love gospel, an unknown fact about D is I love good classical music. Not all classical music, it's good classical music. And that I attribute to my father, because when we would travel, it wasn't always, Clay Evans or James Cleveland, because I'm gonna go way back on the 8-track.
Oh,
in the car, So we public radio, PRN, I think it was back in the day, where you would be able to travel from one part of the country to the other, and you would have the classical, you would have the jazz, you would have all of those smooth, relaxing, tones. So the majority of the time, you didn't have anyone saying a word, but it made the traveling. So, it was just like, it just put you in that zone. And before you knew it, you were halfway to your destination.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
So for me, when you start talking about the elements, it's that vibe. It's that, to use the young people's terms, it's that vibe of what you get from it, with or without words. It's not always the rhythm. It's not always having to have that massive beat, that's gonna push you and drive you. It's, for me, the most important part is where it puts you psychologically. That's just D talking.
And that's good.
And
that's good.
And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be complicated.
No,
and it doesn't
not
have to
at
be
all.
complicated. Some of the most impactful songs are very, very simple, with a very, very simple message. The thing is, that's where we go into the term of theme and variation. What are you going to do with that simple message?
Exactly.
What are you going to do with that simple message musically? To compose or to arrange, we can use something as simple as "Pass Me Not, O Gentle Savior," right?
Yes.
And arrange that in a way. Now we got "Pass Me Not, O Gentle Savior." See, so now something there, hear my humble cry. Very, very simple.
Yes.
Something everybody knows, right? But now it's now done in a different way. Now it's you're grasping attention of not just the generation of all the hymn lovers, but you're now at that time you're grasping the youth of that time. So it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be Chopin in order to get it right.
Absolutely. Frederick here is writing to you all. He says there are many references in the Bible to music. 1028 to be exact. Lamar Boschman. Oh, the rebirth of music, right? And he also said that his favorite area of classical music is the Romantic period. Chopin, the classical era. Yeah, I like Mozart and Beethoven. J.S. Bach was primarily in the Baroque era. Yeah, but we are in a league of, but he is in a league of his own. Okay.
Yo, so
Exactly.
yeah, very much so. I'm a lover of Chopin. My favorite, if I were to say, to play, and is always probably the most difficult for me to play, is Rachmaninoff.
Oh,
And so I am a Rachmaninoff fan. You know, between Prelude and G minor, that's one of my favorites. I've used Prelude in C sharp minor to go into total praise or to go into different hymns. I'll use excerpts from different classical pieces to go into gospel or go into jazz to sort of show. I just did a little mini workshop for some children. That some of the first time it's Hakima, I believe it's called, right? So little kids probably couldn't be over the age of, I'd say, 12, age as young as 5, and they get to do a little master class, right? So they have you know, they're doing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I get to come in and say, how do they play? You know, this is how you can play it better, or this is how you can, you know, expand on that. But for me, at that age, when I was 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, it was Rachmaninoff that did it for me. Like, it was just brain exploded.
wow.
And so it was that. Of course, Beethoven was good for me. Tchaikovsky is also one of my favorites. Quietly, I am a fan of Brahms. I'm a real fan of Brahms. So, and that's just on the instrumental side. We haven't even got to the choral side yet.
All right. Now, when I told you all that I wrote your introductions myself, wasn't I accurate? I said that he would play and he would mix. I know how to write. I know how to write. Hey, listen. Now, since Mark kind of put us in the vein for this next question, should hymns be reintroduced as they are? Since you were talking about "Do Not Pass Me By," and we know we sing. Most of us remember it being sung the old way, which is nothing wrong with it as far as I'm concerned. Because sometimes that old way makes me cry, the new way makes me jump. All right. So should these hymns, you know, because the young people now, a lot of them don't know them, and you know, sometimes I have my own opinion about that. But should hymns be reintroduced as they are? Or should they be revamped to attract the younger generations? And Mr. Adair, you, after Dimitri, you were just working with a youth choir. So, Dimitri.
Go ahead, Edward.
I would say hymns should be introduced. And the only reason why I say that is because next to the #1 book, the hymnal is your Bible. And it's because the majority of your songs from the hymnal is scripturally based. It's rooted. And it is important that the young people, even if they just learn the simple melody of the song, it is good to know. But then also the stories behind those hymns. I took a couple courses at a convention, GMWA, and I wanted to make sure it was hymnology, and in order to learn the stories behind some of the hymns. Now, on the flip side, I do like some of the revamped hymns that's out there. Like you say, "Pass Me Not," and I kid you not, I just left the rehearsal, and that's what they were going over for Sunday. So I said, take them over, "Pass Me Not" for Sunday. And so a lot of the Lord would make a way somehow. See, the young people don't know the original of a lot of these songs, you know. So it is, I feel it is important to know the history as well as learning the hymns What if you want to just sing it a regular way and then turn around as a medley and do an up, tempo version or revamped version of your hymn? It really adds some flavor and lifts the brow of some of the people out in your congregation. Wow, I didn't know they knew this or they did this. That's
True. That's true. Demetria? Or Natalie? Go ahead, Demetria, and then Natalie. Okay.
No, Natalie is fine. Go ahead.
Come on, Natalie.
I think with my view of hymns, number one is they are a teaching tool, because we learn so much Bible from singing hymns.
True.
Oh golly, I'm trying to think of one. You've done the Psalms, different Psalms that are hymns, and then you've got things like there's a hymn that they don't sing anymore. He just put himself in my place, and the chorus, the chorus says, "This is the gospel story. He put himself in my place." Very, very simple message, but it tells you the gospel in a handful of words. And it's so easy to teach kids the gospel. Right now, everything's about how you feel. It's all, I had an experience and I felt this, felt that. And they don't know anything about God. Holy, holy, holy. Very, very simple hymn, but it teaches you about the Trinity. It teaches you, it's describing heaven. All of that is really important for our kids to learn. And if we have to, Brother Frederick over there with Greatest Thy Faithfulness, out of the Bible.
One of my favorites.
Morning by morning, mercies I see. Yeah, so it's definitely a tool that we can use and we should be using, even if we do a remix. And I love a good remix. Even Me, that's a beautiful remix. Patrick Lundy. So there are so many ways to introduce them. Sometimes you can do them in a traditional manner, and kids just decide that's the song they like. We have kids at my church that Jesus is on the main line. They ask for it all the time. How does that happen? Millennials asking for Jesus is on the main line, but that's just because they've been exposed to it. They decided they liked it. So we have to expose them. I think that's part of the problem, how we're losing hymns, is because they won't enjoy that. They won't like that. And a lot of times the kids will fool you.
Yeah.
That's true.
You should build, one of the things they say, should you get rid of your hymns or the old songs of the church? No. If anything, build up on, because that's the foundation of it. Keep the foundation and build upon that, because if you get rid of the foundation, of songs, that's going to not last, are the ones, sometimes it's going to be these newer selections that's coming out, but if you can go back to Blessed Assurance and Pass Me Not, It Is Well in My Soul, and Near the Cross, those songs you can go back and listen to. When I think about, that midnight hour, I can go pull a song, during the late night hours and just sing a typical hymn, love the Kirk Franklin songs. I love them, love his music, but that's not what I want to hear at, in the middle hours when I'm going through something.
Right.
Exactly.
You hit the nail on the head with the foundation. You took the words right out of my mouth. My view is you can do both. You need the foundational piece of hymns, okay, to start with. You already have a firm foundation from that, okay? And then, like you said, you expand upon it. You make it yours. Music is transformative. It's so many things that you can do with it. You can. So I'm a lover of hymns. I'm a young man. I'm 38, but I grew up in a Church of Christ church where they had no music in the worship service, no instrumental music. I just so happen to be a pianist now, but how funny life is. But you had to know your hymns, and you knew every verse. and you knew what it was. You knew the structure of them, and I became fascinated with those. And so now when I go back to, either playing music or singing, some of my favorite songs, "Greatest Thy Faithfulness," has to be one of my favorite hymns ever. Just the way it feels to play it, the expression, the words draw me in. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Demetria, she has a whole parade going on. She's like, I gotta love her. I always pick her. I gotta love her. I gotta love her. Listen, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that Natalie kind of hit what I was gonna go into when you were talking about teaching the hymns versus just doing the revamp. For those of us who grew up now, when you're younger, a lot of times, especially young, when you don't really have a full understanding as to what is being said in those songs, they are a great teaching tool, like it was stated earlier. But then if you look at the hymn books with the way that they've been put together, a lot of those pieces are also historical pieces. So a lot of those that are in there are able to be used to kind of educate on some of the things that our ancestors and our forefathers went through to get us to where we are today. So not only just from a spiritual or, perspective, but also from a historical perspective, a lot of those hymns sum up a lot of things that we don't oftentimes think about unless, and then to learn them in the traditional manner, in my opinion, is imperative, because you can appreciate the revamped versions with the beats and all of that stuff. But when, like Edward was saying, or maybe it was Mr. Mark, when you got those revamped versions, but you're in the middle of dealing with whatever you're dealing with, a revamped version of "God Me, Oh Thy Great Jehovah" is not what you need at that moment.
Right.
It's like, because you are laying with your face on the ground saying, okay, look, I need help.
Right.
I need help. So that's just my personal take on it, not just from the spiritual perspective, but also from the historical.
Oh, yes.
Doctor, you want to bless it?
No, I agree wholeheartedly with everything that has been said. Just like, what Frankie Beverly and Maze's "Before I Let Go" is, that's that foundation before Beyonce touched it, right?
Right.
You can't appreciate "Before I Let Go" unless you know what Frankie Beverly and Maze did to the song, right? Exactly. It's that foundation, and understanding, of course, as everyone has been saying, the storyline behind what's been going on. And I would even take it even further and say, these hymns, especially physically having these hymn books, a lot of us don't have these hymn books.
Yes.
True. And certainly COVID, with all of the restrictions about touching things and things of that nature, has even elevated that in taking some hymn books physically out of our churches. But, even as an instrumentalist, and the literacy of learning how to read that hymn is right. Yes. A lot of our contemporary church musicians, one of the things I really like to sort of push and hound upon is music literacy. We want to have the experiences of understanding the spirituality of all of these songs and things of that nature. But in order to expand and expound upon your own personal gift, there's some foundational things about music that we need too, which are found in these hymns, the chord structures of the songs that, this hymn is sound like this. And then you may want to add your own little flavor to the song that, elevates it that much more. So write down to the literacy aspect of it. You know, as an instrumentalist, you learn how to play it. As a singer, you have this hymn book, you learn how to read music, those sort of rudimentary things that come into that. We all benefit from it at the end of the day. So certainly there's a spiritual and a deep rooted connectedness to it, but right down to the rudimentary benefits of having these hymns as well would benefit us greatly.
Awesome. Look, that kind of brings us to another question that people always ask me. What is a sermonic selection? What is it? I'm telling you. Let me just preface this now. You know, I mean, I'm Kojic born, bred, you know, whatever. And I've heard from other denominations and everything. But sometimes when you say sing a sermon, you kind of, I don't know if they think that it's a time for me to do a Broadway special or, you know, my own, because, I'm being honest. When they call me for a sermonic selection, don't even turn around. The preacher might as well just pick up his Bible and start walking, because I'm only going to sing about 2 verses, and that's it. Because I'm just like, you're not here to see me. You're here. But I'm telling you, it's like 5-10 minutes, and they almost do a mini sermon. So educate the people. What is it? Look, thank you, Frederick. He's right with me. He said, great question. What is a sermonic selection? I mean, what's the purpose of it? I mean, is there a difference between a sermonic selection and a solo? Or, I mean, seriously, I don't think a lot of people understand what it is, because sometimes I sit there, you can literally get up, go to the washroom, talk to people, come back, and they still singing. And you're like, what? Yeah. You know, seriously. So, I mean, Mr. Adair, you know I'm not playing. Seriously. Yeah, you've been so what?
The way I was interpreting that, and it may be a different terminology of what they meaning, but I was thinking it was just a selection prior to the sermon to help enhance what the word is being brought forth that morning or whenever that person's doing his sermon. Like with me, we may have 2 or 3 songs, you know, during the morning service, but if your entire service isn't based or correlated together based on a theme for that particular day, at least try to get the song that's prior to the sermon to help enhance what the word is going to be brought that day. That is the only thing I could think of.
Awesome. You're right. Want to add on to that?
That's honestly exactly it. Now here's the thing. It's also a communicational piece. This is something that I believe that whoever, of course, you're not going to always know whoever's presenting the word, their message. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're not always going to know that. So you have to have the understanding of, or the sort of be observant to what the service is, where the mood of the service, where the spirit of the service, where God is, what's God doing at this point. And this is where you have a decent, you know, if it's somewhere that you, of course, you're a guest and they sing a sermonic selection, you know, at this point now it's also my job to read the room. To now, okay, what songs within this room, with the atmosphere, what God is doing right here, what songs come to mind? Lord, help me, give me the song that comes to mind to not only enhance the spirit in the room, but help invite the word of God at the same time. You may not know the message, but it's that communication, okay, and that observation. Let me look around and see what is happening, how God is moving. And okay, Lord, do I need to present this next selection in a way to kind of break free of what's going there? Because this section, this point is important. The words to the song are important to enhance. Or do I do I flow in? You have to have that mindset. it's about being observant as well. Music is not just, oh, I'm getting up, I'm singing a song. Okay. You're providing a message. This stuff you are literally impacting souls. And those things are important. And if you don't have that understanding of, okay, let me read the room. What is God doing right now? Having that spirit. Okay, this next song needs to be here. This is what the Lord has given me. That's what it's, or, you communicate with whoever the speaker is. This is my message. And you think in your head, okay, this is your message. What song correlates with that? So it's yin or yang. Either or.
Right. Frederick makes a good point. Adding on to what you said, many times people don't ask God what they should sing. That should be an important preparation for attempting to minister. I totally agree. Totally agree with you.
Mm-hmm. That word that he used, preparation.
Preparation.
That's it. Yeah.
That
That's what we call it.
We're losing that. I come from a traditional Baptist background, old school Baptist church, and before a pastor would get up to preach, sometimes he would request a particular song from a particular person because he knew what that song would do. He knew so that I would consider a sermonic selection. Also, my pastor does a song. It's Thomas Whitfield, I believe. We need a word from the Lord. And the Lord leads you into preaching. So I think when I've come across this where the preacher says they want a sermonic selection, or I want a selection, and they don't know what they want, and they expect God to send the correct song. He hasn't asked the Lord to help you. I need you to ask the Savior to help you. And so he hasn't done any prep work, and he hasn't prepared the singers or the musicians. Now they got to go step up to that mic and sing whatever comes on their heart. Now, if they're singing the Douglas Miller "Pass Me Not," and they should have been singing the hymn "Pass Me Not," now we got a problem, because now you've got the whole church hype.
Yeah,
not ready for the word. They're not ready for the word. So it takes, you got to use some of these that God gave us, and you gotta prepare a little bit, and you do have to talk to the Lord. And a lot of times we're in such a hurry to get our point across or to get our thing done. I did my part, and we miss all of the heritage and the excitement that comes from just being. You can be quiet and get excited, and we don't do that anymore in church. Or we repeat the same course for 25 minutes. I'm gonna leave that there.
And I'm gonna laugh right there.
Just be playing it just all day, same thing.
It's like, I mean, I almost think to a degree we've kind of lost the art of ad-libbing. Because I mean, if I'm singing something, I mean, I've done that at times. I would sing, we singing something, and it totally is like I can't just keep singing the same thing over. So then I would take a hymn and kind of bring it in, and everybody's looking at me like, that's not part of the song. Don't worry about it. Just flow. Keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't keep sitting there like a broken record. And I totally agree with it. And I think one of the young ladies earlier, Stephanie, mentioned, she said sometimes they get up and I asked that specifically because I see a lot of people that get up, they say sermonic selection, and people get up and they do all this extraordinary talking, 10 minutes, and people are already at a level, and I totally agree with you, Mark. You have to watch the service, because sometimes the service can be high and you got to bring them down a little low so that they can receive the word. But you don't want to kill their enthusiasm and their spirits. But come on, y'all, we got to come in. And then sometimes they put you up and everybody's just sitting there like stoic. It's like, so you got to raise them up. So it is something that you have to really be connected with the Lord. And always, and I try to stress this to directors, And especially those who are up and coming and they want it, they see the glam side and they just want to, look, you need to have a direct connect to God so you know what's going on, how to select a song that will bless the people. Sometimes the upbeat song is necessary. But then sometimes you need to just, as they say, slow the roll. And just, really praise him is in order. I know you don't want to hear this, but praise him is really in order. That was awesome. That was awesome. Now listen, can gospel music be flavored with other genres, and yet be effective? That's a touchy point with it, with a lot of people. Now I do say, I don't think trap music has a place.
Trap. No gospel trap.
House music has a place when you talk about Jesus. I understand that you do. In my church, my pastor is a music connoisseur, specifically classical music. So total praise and songs with that beautiful introduction, classical introduction. But he also likes Caribbean. That Caribbean flavor. So we sing Kumbaya. He's not like trying to look at us going Kumbaya. He wants the Caribbean sound, I mean, so, it depends on the ministry that you belong to. But I mean, sometimes I put a little sprinkle just to kind of wake everybody up and, whatever, because you have a mixed generation. You have the older, you have the young, you have the in-between. So you're kind of like trying to get everybody involved. So can gospel music be flavored? And I say flavored like salt sprinkled on something, and still be effective.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
John P. Key plays funk. I'm sorry, that's funk music right there. That's Parliament. John P. Key. And there's my answer. John P. Key.
Yes.
Someone mentioned in the chat Richard Smallwood. Richard Smallwood is why I'm here today.
Yeah.
Richard Smallwood was. Of course, when you think about classical music, I'm looking at all of these pigment deficient faces, and and I don't see anybody that looks like me.
I'm gonna use that.
Amen. 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 I try my best to use my words. Amen. I try my best. But he was the first one that I saw that looked like me. That played in that. I'm like, wait a minute. You mean I can do that too? Yes. And so for me, it even to the point where I got to a point where I almost I done stole this man's chords. He's gonna get me one day. If you hear me play, I forgot what I was playing. I was like, he's gonna come and get me, and I'm gonna get the biggest lawsuit ever. But that was my musical influence. That was who I knew and who I gravitated towards. But at the same time, if you really want to get to it, listen to Daryl Coley's early stuff. How much jazz he put in that. Like he was a beast with a pen. Daryl Coley was one of those that had not the 3-part harmony, but the 4 and the 5 and 6 part harmony. And his and you talk about in 80s here, 90s here, and they're not. We're just worried about 3 parts. I gotta go ahead and teach this 6, right? So now. Of course, we also music and gospel music has to move with the times as well, right? But to a point where we just make sure that it is Christ-centered. If it's Christ-centered,
the message.
If it's Christ-centered, then I'm okay. When it becomes, off being Christ-centered, then that's when we have to have a conversation.
Awesome, Dimitri.
I want to add to that, and I'm just going to be simple with it. When I say, just think about Al Green. Think about the Winans. Think about Take 6 and Commission. It's like if we think about Mahalia Jackson back in the day. She caught every piece of living because of her flavor.
Right. True.
So you can put a little bit of Mrs. Dash on your music. Cause see, I'm gonna be honest with you. Anybody that's heard me play knows that jazz and blues is always gonna be introduced into whatever I play in some shape, form, or fashion. And I am a diehard Temptations fan. So just my imagination, a chord or a bass line or something it's gonna slide up in there some kind of way. So, but that's just my personal style. There's times where I keep it traditional and I try to keep it as close to the original as humanly possible, because some songs are not meant to be tapered with. Some are more effective when they are played the way they are written.
Yes.
Oh yes.
But if it's something that Mr. Talton, he and his voice, just Sunday, I think it was. We just got through listening to them, Hanlon and his son on the keys, he's on the organ, his other son, back there, just kind of just maintaining that, that tempo. But the way that they kept it sacred, but at the same time, they kept it spicy.
Right.
So it was a perfect blend. So in situations like that, I'm like, hey, let it do what it do. That's just,
That's just deep, right?
Reality.
This, you know what, and that's what I like about this panel. We come full circle. We have all different flavors of flavors of individuals in a sense. Each one of you see it from a different aspect, and that's what makes it awesome.
If I could add to what she was saying, if we really think about it, the father of gospel music, Thomas Dorsey. I mean, he called.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. And and let's think about when they were fussing about "Oh Happy Day" with
Walker Hawkins.
A lot of these songs from way back in the 70s was considered, like Walker Hawkins, Edwin Hawkins.
They were considered
in the early 80s with the Winans, when that was considered the contemporary, right?
Yes.
Now all those songs
Not
are
today.
considered, it's traditional. It's all traditional now. So, folks fussed about that, but now they want to hear all those type of songs and shout all over the church. But you fussed about that yesterday. You weren't
cooking wonderful
that in the church, but now.
You got it. Okay, but now that's what everybody wants to hear. Marsha says Edwin Hawkins caught it as well as Andre Crouch. I remember that.
Yeah.
And Frederick says, "Take my hand, precious Lord." Thomas Dorsey. Yeah. And that's a song. I mean, that song, "Precious Lord," which is a beautiful song, but it's sung all the time that you almost like pray that they don't sing it, because it automatically just draw emotions. You like, either that one, and there's another one, "Soon as I Get Home" by Thomas Whitfield.
Oh yes.
But another beautiful song that is flavored, but it is like every choir wants to sing it. It's just like a staple. And all of those songs, I remember, now they're staples. That's what everybody's leaning on now, because of what it's amazing that we all, in some form of fashion or at some point in time, we all fall back to the songs that we remember in the past that we consider to be solid and able to rest, knowing that I knew them, my grandmother knew them, my mother knew, it's a generational song. And those are the ones that we go back to in the time of pain, in time of struggles, in time of whatever, because we know that they've been proven and tried.
Exactly.
And when it's been proven and tried, then I'm willing to stick with that. I think that one a little bit, but I'm gonna keep it all. I'm gonna keep the stash on the other side. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Anybody else? Was somebody else speaking? I don't want to cut
No,
anybody
I'm
off.
just gonna say that song "Clean Up." What I messed up is actually both a secular.
Yes, it
it's
is.
a secular song that was converted.
Mhm.
Yes.
Just like a lot of Sam Cooke songs, like "Wonderful." That girl was so wonderful, but you know it was flipped over to God. It's so wonderful. So so if you want to talk about whether or not it can be flavored, a lot of times some people just are just blatant with it and would just go from like we're just gonna take out the word girl and put in God and we got a church song.
Right, right.
Jesus is the best thing that ever happened to
I
me.
was about to say
Yeah.
it. That's
so
Dennis Cleveland was famous for that.
Yeah. It even
And
has
they had-
Kyle Walker. He had a lot of songs that he took. I just forgot the band's name. But he basically remade everything that he had. When he said, "We'll make it," won't he make you clean inside?
That's a Kyle Walker.
Yeah, I can't think of that man's name, but he had him on. He paid tribute to him, and he said he basically revived my songs. And brought them out. DJ Rogers, thank you, Vanja. DJ Rogers.
Yes.
Yeah, he basically took all.
brought me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that everybody sings. I need you.
You need.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's just a part. It depends on what generation you're in or what the times are at the time. And keeping it traditional is very important so that we have something to hold on to. But as I said, I like to add a little spice to it. I just like, especially that Caribbean. I like to just throw that on there anytime. Take any song and just spruce it, do that. That is just awesome to me. Listen, now, Dr. Jillian touched on this earlier. But I want to bring this question up anyway because we have, quite a few people that want to jump into. I believe that we should work on our craft. Don't just be satisfied. Well, that'll do. Well, I'm doing it. I'm making it. I mean, I'm not totally I'm comfortable in what I'm doing, but I'm not satisfied. If you understand what I'm saying, I want to progress. And if the people around me are not progressing, those that I'm hanging around that are if they're not pushing to be progressive, then I got to change my company because then I'll become stagnant, and I don't want to do that. So how important it is a musical background, whether it's singing, education, instrumentalist, to the success of a music department, and how important it is for your circle to feel the way that you do. I'm going to start with Dr. Jillian because I know she kind of hit on that earlier, so I'm going to start with her.
It's extremely important because it keeps you relevant. If you're unwilling to, music changes by the day, literally by the day. And so if you have musicians, singers, whomever are sort of stuck in one generation of a particular sound or whatever the case may be, and the music is going in this direction and you can't play it, or you can't sing it, or you can't, whatever the case may be, then you yourself, you're choosing to sort of sift yourself out of relevancy, if you will. And so it at the foundation of it is, of course, personal growth for sake of wanting to be better and do better at what you do, but you also want to be able to be relevant to what is going on and move with the times. Otherwise, why are you here?
Absolutely. Anybody else want to add to that? That is absolutely true.
And with YouTube, with things like YouTube, there's no excuse. You can watch a tutorial for free.
True.
You can do vocal exercises are on YouTube. How to play any song that comes out, like the week after the song comes out, there's somebody that's put up a tutorial on how to play it. If you're listening not through your phone speaker, not through that little hole in your phone, but you actually are plugging in some headphones or you're using an actual speaker, there's no reason you can't expand your horizons. I'm a jazz head, and I love Snarky Puppy
Yes.
and Jacob Collier, and there's a lot of really cool stuff happening. And if you just sit on YouTube for a minute, you'll see something you've never seen before, and you're like energized and excited, and you want to go try it. And so, yeah, there's no excuse now.
Well, it has. You can be, and you can be an expert and a student at the same time.
Sure.
You can be an expert and a student at the same time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, because music, again, you have to be prepared to play a lot of things. When music changes, you have to be able to, you have a particular style, but you'll be able to change with it. And it's okay for music to change. It's okay for these things to happen, because now we're broadening out to reach more a different audience, or a younger audience. You become stagnant. You do not become it. Just being. Let's just take it as a musician. Yes, there are some musicians that are stuck in their ways. I'm only going to do this, right? And that's fine. There's a lane for that. There's also a lane for those who will say, hey, I want to do it this new way, right? That's fine too. My thing is educate yourself. Now, it can be formal education, it can be school, or we're talking about YouTube University. Do that too. The biggest thing is when you stop learning, when you say to yourself, I'm going to stop learning because I got it.
Oh,
That's when, as a musician, that's when you say to yourself, you don't want to make no money.
basically.
That's when you said, I want. When you say that, you said, I want to be broke for the rest of my. As far as when it comes to, I'm gonna go ahead and take up something else. And it's not about money, but if you're talking about, I'm talking about simply as a musician. No, we're not even going to talk about, going to as far as church and gospel music. Just as a musician, you don't want to get with the times. You want to be broke.
True.
And if you do not have that mindset that, okay, I'm willing to learn, I want to learn, I'm driven to learn. Who's this new artist? When Corey Henry came,
oh my goodness,
this dude blew my mind.
Literally, still does.
It is amazing to me. He is one of the top, if not the top, organ players in the world. I don't care. I'll put him up to anybody, But knowledge, innovative, crazy technique, just wonderful to hear. But you have to think that's where music is going. Now, there's only one Corey Henry.
True.
But what does he represent? What type of change he represents? Right? And understand being observant, of the time of what's going on. Hey, not just so much I have to be like him or be him. But this is where music is going. I need to educate myself to where I can go ahead and meet that age group, or the age group before that, or age group after that.
Awesome. Awesome. Now let's go to this question, because I want to hear from everybody. Because we actually been over an hour. That hour went by real fast. I'm like, no, I'm not going to ask that question. I'm not going to ask that. Because we've been over an hour. And I appreciate you all being here, and I don't want to take advantage of your time. You all are so precious. But my question here, this will be my last one. So sorry, everybody. But this will be my last one. If you can tell one thing to an upcoming music ministry leader, what would it be? If you can tell one thing that you could tell these directors, directresses, ministry leaders, music ministry leaders, one thing, what would that be? Anybody can go first.
I'll go first. You have to be teachable. You have to be teachable and humble.
Absolutely.
You got a lot of musicians that know it all, and you can't tell them anything because they know it all. But like Buddy Mark said, you have to be open to You can be expert in what you do, but at the same time, you have to be open to learn more things to add up on what it is that you know. But teachable is very important. You have to be able to be taught.
That's true.
Mhm.
No argument here.
I'll go next.
Sure.
One thing that I would implore, especially ministry leaders, you can be a musician all day, but ministry is a whole different category.
Yes.
Say, build good relationships with the pastor / your boss, as well as the people.
Mhm.
It's a pivotal relationship that you as the minister of music have with the pastor goes a long way. I say, as many different facets that we have within our own church services and whatnot, among the most important elements is the music. People
Yes.
don't usually come to church for the offering. They don't come to chair, granted they come for prayer and things like that. But one of the greatest draws for people generationally across young and old, they come, and what draws them to a ministry, particularly to stay within a ministry, is good music, good
Good
effective
music.
music that transcends generations, music that really touches the soul, music that is intentional and prepared in a great way. That's what draws people and keeps people. And so that relationship between what the pastor wants to get across for that particular day really needs to be set up dynamically by your music ministry. I've been a part of music ministries where if the music was good enough, the preacher didn't need to preach because the sermon has already been, it's already been sung, it's already come forth, the word has already been given. And so building that relationship with the pastor and having that communication is super, super essential, as well as, of course, with your people just in general, knowing your audience, knowing what the people need, and being keen to the Holy Spirit and the move that he's trying to go.
Awesome. Awesome. Next. That was awesome.
I guess. Oh,
I
nope.
don't want to draft. So
Ladies first. Ladies first.
Be faithful.
Yeah.
Be faithful. Show up. Prepared. Be faithful. That right there is golden. There are so many musicians that their ministry is a gig.
Mm.
And they may not be there because the next gig paid more. So be faithful. Your church will take care of you if you're faithful. I promise.
Awesome. Awesome. Demetria?
Remain humble.
Yeah.
Remain humble. Edward was saying that, remain teachable. That was the first thing that popped into my head because we may know what we know, but there's always somebody that knows something we don't know that can teach us what we don't know or help to enhance what we do know. But even still, with all of that, you will be most effective if you are humble. I don't care if you can make, because I'm one of few female organists that are out there nowadays, and people oftentimes have a lot to say about that when they learn that fact. And people always fuss at me because I'm always, okay, I play, whatever. Thank you for the compliment, not going about my business. But it's not because I can't hit a 5-finger chord, but it's because if it weren't for the gift that we're given, I could turn around and hit the organ all day long and it won't be effective at all during the worship service. But because there are a lot of people that can perform well, like Natalie was just saying, they can gig real good. They can gig real good, but gigging and ministering on the board are two totally different things. So I would say remain humble.
Awesome.
For me, if I were to express anything, is to be one, be driven, remain driven, keep the drive, understand that you are called. When God calls you to do this, He did not make a mistake. Remain driven. There are going to be good times. There are going to be some times where there's some issues, and you got to pray that thing out. But remain. Listen, trust me. You got to pray that thing out. So remain driven, right? But if along with that, try your best to be diverse. Diversity is try your best to learn almost anything and everything you can when it comes to your hymns. Understand, know your hymns. They're your foundation. You know, be able to try your best to learn how to play in every key.
Yeah.
Not the transpose button. I can't use the transpose button.
Because
I can't use the
transpose button.
Listen. Listen, I'm one of the few in the last era where I was taught, like, oh, you're not gonna hit this transpose button. Play in E, play in D, play in G, play in A, play in B.
Yeah.
Because in a worship service you don't have time. You have to move with the Spirit. Now that's educating yourself. That takes a little more. That's why I say stay driven. It takes a little more. It takes something extra. But how bad do you want it? People do what they want to do when they want to do it. How bad do you want it?
All right now.
Can I add one more?
Yes.
Learn some of your technology from your sound system. Because the sound guy may not show up. And you have to be able to have good sound. So learn some of the technology that your church uses, because I've been in places where it's just not nice. You feel like your teeth are going to shoot out of your face. It's just, it's a knob. It's just turning a knob or pulling back a fader, or it's just not that deep. So and that's even on YouTube.
Yep.
YouTube University.
YouTube University.
Oh God.
That I'm telling you, that's one step away from a nightmare. It really is. Listen, Navika agrees with you. She said you need to know that sound system. I'm telling you, I know I had to learn mine at my church, because before it was kind of like I didn't have to do it. You just show up and everything's there. Oh, I know how to work the board, the monitors, everything, because you just never know. And I think that's one part of being a music ministry leader. There are so many pieces that you need to know or be familiar with, at least. You're almost like a jack of all trades, and you do become a master of one of them. But you really have to be a jack of all trades and know a little about everything. And I stress that to people, that is what gives you the depth and the experience, your ability to be able to transcend and to learn and to jump right in. And you'd be surprised how much you learn in just those few moments. Something that you can use and parlay into something else. You may not stay here and do this, but you can use, there's countless things that I have learned in church that I actually used in the work world. I'm sitting there going, I'm not a high-back person, but I learned how to do it over here, and I'm operating it over here. It just works itself out. But you know what, everybody, I got to end this. My guests have been with me over an hour and 15 minutes, and I had planned to have you out in 45. But it has been an awesome night. Thank you, each and every one of you. Folks out there, you still hanging in there with me. Thank you so very much. YouTube, thank you. I appreciate it. Hanging out there with me. You know what? Eventually, Natalie and I are going to work together. We're going to have another one of these, because I didn't get to everything that was on this piece of paper. But that's okay. I think what we covered is beneficial to the people who are here, who are listening, and will be listening when I get off. They'll still be listening, coming back, doing a rewind. But I want to thank each and every one of you for taking out the time of your busy schedules. All of you subject matter experts, and giving your opinions and all of your inputs. It has I have learned a tremendous amount, and it has reinforced some things. It's like you all were teaching me. I had my own seminar, right? That's the whole purpose of this. Is like a mini seminar. I remember back in the day, you used to be able to go to a seminar almost anywhere. It didn't matter what denomination it was. You just want to go because we're going to learn, and that's one of the reasons why I started this, because we don't do that anymore. And you want to keep. Some people still like this type of forum. So I guess that's my little niche in the world. But I love each and every one of you. I learned something about each and every one of you, and I really appreciate you. Everybody, I appreciate you. I love everybody. Thank you. Share, share. Have a wonderful evening to all of you. And have a wonderful weekend. Get some rest. I know you all kind of tired hanging out with me as always. As always. But I love you all. Thank you, everybody. Peace out. Have a good night. Everybody. Love everybody. Peace out. Bye.
Okay. How do we get out? Okay.
I'm going to take you out right now.